You can have the best ideas, the biggest dreams, and all the motivation in the world. But if your mind is filled with limiting beliefs, you'll sabotage yourself every single time. These beliefs are invisible chains. You don't even realize how tightly they've been wrapped around your potential until you try to move and feel resistance. You might think you're not ready. You might think you're not capable. You might think success is for other people. But here's the truth: your beliefs shape your behavior, and your behavior shapes your reality. If you want to change your life, you've got to change the stories you tell yourself. So today, we're calling out the 7 worst limiting beliefs that block success and replacing them with truth. I'm not good enough. Those 4 words have killed more dreams than any failure ever could. They sound innocent at first, almost logical, but they are poison. Every time you hesitate, every time you overthink, every time you tell yourself you'll start someday, this belief is quietly running the show. It convinces you that you need more knowledge, more talent, more approval before you even try. It makes you chase perfection instead of progress, and while you wait to feel ready, opportunities pass you by. The truth is, no one ever feels ready. Readiness is an illusion. People who succeed aren't necessarily smarter, braver, or more talented. They're just the ones who decided to take action before they felt qualified. Think about the moments in your life when you took that first scary step. Maybe it was speaking up when you were terrified, applying for something that felt out of reach, or standing up for yourself for the first time. You didn't feel enough then either, but you did it anyway. And afterward, you realized that the fear was lying to you. That's how growth works. You act first, and confidence catches up later. Every time you push through discomfort, you're training your brain to trust yourself. That's where real confidence is built. Not in waiting for it, but in earning it through action. The problem with believing you're not good enough is that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You see the world through that lens. You downplay your wins, dismiss your strengths, and focus on what's missing instead of what's working. You start comparing yourself to people who are 5, 10, 20 steps ahead and forget they were once where you are now. You see their results, but not their repetition. You see their highlight reel, but not their hard days. The gap between you and them isn't talent, it's time and consistency. Here's something powerful to remember: nobody starts out as a master. Every expert was once a beginner fumbling through their first attempt. Every leader once doubted themselves. Every person you admire once whispered the same thought: maybe I'm not enough. The difference is they didn't let that thought decide their future. They acted anyway. They failed, adjusted, learned, and built momentum until the belief lost its grip. You can do the same. The next time you catch yourself saying, I'm not good enough, stop and ask, who told me that? Was it a teacher, a parent, a boss, or maybe your own fear of being judged? Because if that belief came from outside of you, it's time to return it. You don't have to carry someone else's limitation anymore. The only thing that defines what you can or can't do is what you decide to believe about yourself today. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to start. Confidence doesn't appear before action. It grows because of it. And every single step you take toward your dream is proof that you were always good enough to begin with. I don't have time. That sentence has become the most accepted excuse for staying stuck. It sounds logical, even responsible, but underneath it lies fear and avoidance. When you say you don't have time, what you're really saying is, it's not a priority right now. Because here's the truth. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. The difference between those who move forward and those who stay still isn't time, it's what they choose to focus on. You make time for what matters. You already do it every single day. If you can spend an hour scrolling, talking about your dreams, or worrying about what might go wrong, you can also spend that hour building, learning, or creating something that moves you closer to them. The reason I don't have time feels true is because your brain protects you from discomfort. Change feels hard, and your mind would rather keep you busy than make you brave. It fills your schedule with low-value tasks, distractions, and obligations that make you feel productive but keep you exactly where you are. You end the day exhausted, but deep down you know you didn't make progress on the things that matter most. That's not a time problem, it's a focus problem. Real progress doesn't require more hours, it requires intention. When you decide what's important, you start cutting out what's not. Imagine tracking every minute of your day for just 1 week. You'd be shocked at how much of your time is spent reacting instead of creating, answering messages, checking notifications, rethinking decisions. Small leaks like that drain the hours you could be using to build your future. Successful people aren't magical, they're disciplined. They don't wait for free time to appear, they create it by saying no. No to things that don't align with their goals. No to endless distractions. No to waiting for the right moment. They know the right moment is the one happening right now. The truth is, time is never the problem, clarity is. When you know exactly what you want, you naturally find space for it. You stop negotiating with your excuses. Think about the last time something truly mattered to you. You found time, didn't you? Whether it was seeing someone you care about, finishing a deadline, or chasing something exciting, you made it happen because it mattered. The same rule applies to your dreams. The moment you make your goals non-negotiable, your calendar will start to shift. You don't need to overhaul your entire schedule to make progress. You just need consistency. 15 focused minutes a day will do more for your future than hours of distracted effort. You can build something incredible in small pockets of time, but you have to treat those minutes like gold. Protect them. Use them with purpose. Because one day you'll look back and realize time was never holding you back. Hesitation was. The clock has always been on your side. You just needed to decide that your dream was worth your time. I'm afraid to fail. Those words echo in almost everyone's mind, but few admit how deeply they control their actions. Fear of failure is sneaky. It disguises itself as perfectionism, procrastination, overthinking, or endless preparation. It tells you, wait until you're ready. Make sure everything's perfect first. Or, what if you mess this up? And while you're waiting, planning, and polishing, life keeps moving. Opportunities pass. Confidence fades. You tell yourself you're being cautious, but really you're building a cage made of fear. The fear of failing doesn't stop you from falling. It stops you from flying. Every successful person you admire has failed. Not once, but dozens, even hundreds of times. The only difference is that they didn't let failure define them. They understood that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a step on the path toward it. Every mistake teaches you something experience can't. Every setback builds resilience. Every no prepares you for the right lies. Yet most people run from failure as if it's proof they aren't capable. It's not. It's proof they're trying. You cannot grow without friction. You can't get stronger without resistance. And you cannot reach your potential while avoiding the very thing that teaches you how to improve. Think back to when you first learned something new. Maybe driving, cooking, or speaking in front of people. You weren't good at it. You stumbled, messed up, got nervous. But you didn't quit because you understood that learning meant failing forward. Somewhere along the way, though, life taught you to fear judgment. You started to care too much about how failure would look. You began to equate mistakes with shame. That's not your fault. It's how we've been conditioned. But if you want to succeed, you have to unlearn that. Failure is not fatal, inaction is. The only real way to fail permanently is to stop trying. The truth is, failure is feedback. It's the universe's way of showing you what doesn't work so you can find what does. Every failure carries information. It exposes weaknesses, highlights blind spots, and sharpens your awareness. When you stop seeing failure as a dead end and start treating it like a teacher, everything changes. Instead of being paralyzed by fear, you become curious. Instead of asking, what if I fail? You start asking, what will I learn? That simple shift transforms fear into power. You can't think your way out of fear. You act your way through it. Action is the antidote to fear. The moment you take the first small step, the monster in your mind starts to shrink. The anxiety fades because motion creates clarity. You realize it's not nearly as scary as your imagination made it seem. And even if you fall flat, you'll stand up stronger, smarter, and more determined. Every time you fail, you become more unstoppable because failure loses its power over you. The goal isn't to avoid failure, it's to stop letting it control your future. It's too late for me. That belief quietly steals hope from people who still have so much life ahead of them. It convinces you that because you didn't start sooner, you shouldn't start at all. You look back and see all the years you think you wasted, all the chances you missed, all the roads you didn't take, and you tell yourself the window has closed. But that's not reality, that's regret talking. The truth is, as long as you're still breathing, it's never too late. The clock isn't your enemy. The idea that success has an expiration date is a myth. Life doesn't operate on a schedule. People bloom at different times, and every stage of your journey can still be the beginning of something extraordinary. Some of the most successful people in history started when the world told them it was too late. Colonel Sanders launched KFC in his 60s. Vera Wang designed her first dress at 40. Morgan Freeman didn't land his first major movie role until he was 50. These people weren't lucky. They were determined. They stopped measuring themselves by society's timeline and started focusing on progress, not age. That's the secret. The moment you stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20, you get your power back. You realize time didn't run out, you just stopped running. The belief that it's too late comes from fear. Fear that you won't catch up, that you'll look foolish, or that it's pointless to start over. But there's nothing foolish about wanting more from your life. There's courage in starting again. You're not behind, you're experienced. Every mistake, heartbreak, and setback has prepared you for this next chapter. You're not beginning from scratch, you're beginning from knowledge. And that gives you an edge most people don't have when they start young. You've seen what doesn't work. You've learned how to handle rejection. You've developed patience, resilience, and awareness. That wisdom is your foundation. When you tell yourself it's too late, what you're really saying is, I don't believe change is possible. But look around. People reinvent themselves every day. A person can rebuild their health after decades of neglect, restart a career after failure, or fall in love again after heartbreak. Transformation doesn't care about age, it only cares about effort. The second you take a single step toward something new, you're no longer where you were yesterday. That's proof you're still capable of growth. The time will pass anyway. A year from now, you'll either be in the same place wishing you had started, or you'll be grateful you did. The years you think you lost can become the years that teach you how to live differently. You're not too old, too late, or too far gone. You're right on time for a comeback. Because the truth is, the best time to start was yesterday, but the next best time is always now. I don't deserve success. Those words lie deep beneath the surface for many people, often buried under layers of excuses and self-doubt. You might not say them out loud, but you feel them every time something good starts to happen, and you immediately find a way to pull back. You tell yourself it's luck, not effort. You downplay your wins. You avoid taking credit. You find ways to self-sabotage, missing deadlines, giving up too soon, or pretending you don't want it anymore. Because deep down you believe you don't deserve it. This belief doesn't scream, it whispers. It convinces you that joy, abundance, or success are for other people, not you. But that's a lie you've been conditioned to believe, not the truth of who you are. Somewhere in your past, you picked up the message that your worth had to be earned. Maybe you were told you had to achieve something to be loved, or you made mistakes that left you feeling ashamed, or someone made you believe you weren't special enough. Over time, that became your inner dialogue. I'm not worthy of more. So even when opportunities appear, you hesitate. You sabotage progress before it can prove you wrong. You stay small to feel safe. The problem isn't your capability. It's the story you keep telling yourself about what you deserve. But here's the truth. Success isn't a reward for being perfect. It's a result of being persistent. You don't have to be flawless, rich, or fearless to deserve good things. You just have to be willing to work for them and allow yourself to receive them when they come. You are not undeserving because of your past, your mistakes, or your flaws. You're human. Every person who has ever built something meaningful started with insecurities, guilt, and doubt. The difference is they stopped letting those feelings dictate what they were allowed to experience. They gave themselves permission to succeed, even when they didn't fully believe they deserved it yet. You can do the same. You can choose to stop rejecting the good that life wants to give you. Every time you silence your inner critic and take one step forward, you prove that old belief wrong. You don't have to wait until you feel worthy to start. Worthiness grows from taking action. The more you honor your goals, the more your brain learns that you are, in fact, deserving of the things you've been chasing. The feeling of unworthiness starts to fade as you collect evidence that you're capable and committed. You deserve to win simply because you're willing to try. You deserve happiness because you're brave enough to seek it. You deserve success because you've been doing the hard work, showing up, growing, and refusing to quit. You don't need anyone's permission to rise. The moment you stop asking for it and start believing you belong in the spaces you dream about, your entire reality begins to shift. You were never undeserving, you were just doubting. And doubt loses its power the moment you decide to act anyway. Every belief you hold either builds your future or blocks it. The difference between people who stay stuck and people who break through isn't luck, it's mindset. The thoughts you repeat every day shape the life you live. If you tell yourself you're not enough, you'll hesitate. If you say you don't have time, you'll waste it. If you fear failure, you'll never start. But when you choose to challenge those thoughts, when you decide to rewrite the story in your head, that's when everything changes. Because success doesn't start with strategy, it starts with belief. The moment you stop letting fear, doubt, and excuses dictate your actions, you open the door to everything you've ever wanted. You stop waiting for the right moment and realize this is it, right here, right now. You don't need permission, validation, or guarantees. You need courage. You need the willingness to take one small step, even when your mind screams that you're not ready. Each step forward weakens the power of your old beliefs and strengthens the truth that you are capable, deserving, and unstoppable. So from this moment on, make a promise to yourself: no more holding back, no more apologizing for your dreams, no more living small to make others comfortable. The world doesn't need another person hiding their potential. It needs you at full power. You have something unique, something valuable, something the world hasn't seen yet because you've been too busy doubting it. Stop waiting. Start creating. You are ready even if you don't feel like it yet. Your future is not written by your past. It's written by the choices you make today. And today you can choose to let go of the beliefs that have been holding you down. Replace "I can't" with "I will." Replace "I'm not enough" with "I am becoming." Replace "someday" with "today." Because every big success story begins with one small decision to believe again. Thank you for listening, for showing up, and for choosing to grow. You could have spent this time scrolling, doubting, and distracting yourself, but you didn't. You chose to invest in you. And that matters. I hope this message stays with you the next time fear tries to whisper in your ear. You are more powerful than your excuses, stronger than your fears, and closer to success than you think. Keep going. Keep believing. Keep taking one bold step at a time, because your story isn't over. It's just getting started. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And remember, the only limits that exist are the ones you accept. So stop accepting them. Your time is now.